is someone like Kurt Cobain in Nirvana, who basically is a fucking junkie wife. And if the baby's born deformed, I think they both ought to go to prison. That's my feeling.
Axl Rose is one of rock and roll's most iconic and controversial frontmen. He's famous for his feuds, but who did he consider truly evil? At 63, the legendary Guns N' Roses frontman finally breaks his silence, revealing the names of 7 evil figures who lurk in the shadows of the rock world. These are the enemies who pushed him to his limit and earned his ultimate fury. Coming in at number 7 is Vince Neil, who had a brutal feud with Axl that landed him on Axl's list of evil people. The feud was so intense that 2 of rock's most iconic frontmen once challenged each other to a fight on MTV. And funny enough, the feud didn't even start between Axl and Vince. It all started back in 1988 at a legendary Los Angeles club called the Cat House. Vince Neil's wife, Charisse, claimed that Guns N' Roses guitarist Izzy Stradlin assaulted her in the club while Vince was away. Charisse later said Izzy was drunk, hitting on her, and completely out of control. She told him to get his hands off her because she was Vince's wife. Then Izzy grabbed her shirt and pulled it down. Charisse says the confrontation turned violent and that she was struck. Vince wanted payback, and he got his chance at the 1989 MTV Video Music Awards. After Motley Crue presented Guns N' Roses with an award, Vince waited backstage for Izzy. When Izzy walked off stage, Vince was ready. Vince shouted that Izzy had hit his wife. Izzy just shrugged and said, "So what?" That's when Vince lost it. He swung hard and Izzy went down instantly. That's when Axl Rose got involved in the fight. As Vince was leaving, Axl came after him yelling. Axl shouted that he would kill Vince according to witnesses, but when Vince stood his ground and didn't back down, Axl changed his tune. He just told Vince not to mess with his band again. The real fireworks came in January 1990 when Axl called a music journalist at midnight. Axl wanted his threats against Vince published for the whole world to read. Axl said, "Hey Vince, whichever way you want to go, man. Guns, knives, or fists, whatever you want to do, I don't care." When the journalist asked if Axl really wanted all this published, Axl laughed and said he stood by every word. Axl went on MTV in August 1990 and doubled down on his challenge. He told Kurt Loder that anytime Vince wanted to fight anywhere, he was ready. Axl said they could do it in Atlantic City and even put money on it. Vince Neil responded with his own MTV challenge about a year later. Vince said he wanted to challenge Axl to a fight at an arena where people could come see. He wanted it televised. Vince said he wanted the whole world to see this fight. According to Vince, Axl sent messengers with proposed locations. These included the Tower Records parking lot on Sunset Boulevard and Venice Beach Boardwalk. Vince said he turned up at the suggested locations, but that Axl did not appear on several occasions. Axl never confirmed any of these stories about showing up to fight. The song Get in the Ring from Axl's album indirectly connected to this whole situation. The feud eventually faded away as grunge music took over in the early 1990s. But Vince continued taking shots at Axl for years afterward. These are the reasons why Axl always disliked Vince in the industry. At number 6, we have Mike Patton. Mike Patton is the lead singer of Faith No More, one of the most unique and unpredictable voices in rock. Mike Patton had a feud with Axl Rose, which led Axl to consider him an evil figure in the field. What makes this situation unique is that Axl genuinely loved Faith No More. They were one of his favorite bands in the world. Faith No More opened for the disastrous 1992 Guns N' Roses and Metallica tour after Kurt Cobain refused the offer. Axl personally invited them, telling the band he only liked them, Nirvana, and a couple other bands. Despite Axl's admiration, Faith No More was treated terribly on the road. In a May 2021 interview, Mike Patton detailed the incidents with remarkable honesty. Patton said, "They treated us like shit. They paid us really well, but every single day we were looking for something messed up to do." The teleprompter incident became the most infamous story. Patton explained that one day he was so bored. Touring with Guns N' Roses was just such a drag, so one day he took it out and urinated all over Axl's teleprompter. But the chocolate cake story was even more extreme and disgusting. Patton's full account revealed disturbing details. He took a chocolate cake from the catering table, then he put some of his feces inside of it and put it back. They watched because Patton was hoping Axl Rose would eat it. Instead, their own crew member picked it up and almost ate it. Patton had to yell at the last second for him not to eat it. Other pranks included sampling Axl's voice and playing it during their set. Patton also poured urine over his own head while standing on Axl's monitor. He even threatened to defecate on the TV screens in front of tens of thousands of people. Why would anyone behave this way at their own workplace? Faith No More's bassist described the awful atmosphere to a music magazine. He said Guns N' Roses would send their video crew into the audience during breaks. They'd corner pretty girls and everyone would scream at her until she lifted her shirt. If she refused, the whole audience would boo her. It was awful, and it happened every single night. The treatment differences were stark and obvious. Faith No More traveled by bus, while Guns N' Roses chartered private planes. Faith No More performed at 6 p.m. for exactly 45 minutes. Guns N' Roses showed up late and played for hours. Backstage at every show, Guns N' Roses had jacuzzis and fake beaches with strippers. Axl eventually confronted the band backstage at a Florida show on September 2, 1992. His opening statement revealed he was genuinely hurt. Axl asked, "Why do you hate me?" Surprisingly, the confrontation was actually civil and calm. The band talked to Axl for a while and found him pretty cool. One member thought all hell would come down, but Axl just called them idiots. Faith No More was eventually fired from the tour on September 21, 1992. Looking back years later, Patton showed some regret about his actions, but because of all the pranks and chaos during its 1992 tour, Axl considers Patton an evil figure in the industry. At number 5, we have Jon Bon Jovi. This feud was subtle and complex compared to other conflicts. According to one story, Bon Jovi had actually considered naming his 1986 album Guns N' Roses. This means Jon thought of the name before Axl's band even used it. When Axl's band became massively famous with that name, Bon Jovi felt some regret. Axl didn't hold back his disdain for Jon Bon Jovi or his music. He publicly called Bon Jovi a commercial sellout. Axl said, "Bon Jovi can suck my dick," in crude terms during an interview. The statement was disrespectful and showed Axl's true feelings about Jon's musical choices. Bon Jovi heard about these comments and they hurt him deeply. What made this feud interesting was that Bon Jovi actually hated Axl more than vice versa. Jon was jealous of how much attention Axl still received despite not releasing music. Bon Jovi supposedly said, "That guy hasn't made a record in 13 years and he gets all that attention. Do you know what I've done in 13 years? A lot." The jealousy was palpable and clear in his statement. The Bon Jovi feud represented the clash between two different rock philosophies. Jon represented the mainstream arena rock sound that Axl had moved away from. Axl represented the raw, edgier rock that rejected commercial polish. Both were successful, but they valued different things in rock and roll. Eventually, something changed between them. When they saw each other in London, with Sebastian Bach present, they actually talked. According to reports, the three musicians were able to squash their beef completely. Axl and Jon were able to move past their differences and public insults. They realized their feud had been driven by ego and competition more than real hatred. During his prime, Axl often viewed Bon Jovi as an evil who sought to steal the spotlight by exploiting his band's name. At number 4, we have Slash. The man who created some of rock's greatest guitar riffs alongside Axl became his worst enemy for 20 long years. The friendship between Axl Rose and Slash seemed unbreakable in the late 1980s. Together, they wrote songs that defined a generation. But by 1996, everything had fallen apart. The final breaking point came when Slash received a contract from Axl's lawyers. The contract would have turned him into just a hired musician in what was supposed to be their band. Slash took just 24 hours to decide he was done with the band. He walked away from Guns N' Roses forever. But the real problem started much earlier during recording sessions in 1994. Axl brought in another guitarist, Paul Tobias, to record Slash's parts. The worst part was that Axl never even told Slash about it. Slash later said that having another guitar player record over him without telling him was as much disrespect as he could handle. The two men wanted completely different things for the band. Axl wanted synthesizers, orchestras, and piano ballads. Slash just wanted straight-up guitar-driven rock music. Then there were the control issues that destroyed everything. According to band stories, Axl refused to go on stage during their 1992 tours unless everyone signed over the Guns N' Roses name to him. By 1997, Axl owned the name completely, and everyone else was gone. The hatred that followed was unlike anything rock music had ever seen. In 2009, Axl gave an interview where he unleashed his fury on Slash. Axl said, "In a nutshell, personally, I consider him a cancer, and better removed, avoided, and the less anyone heard of him or his supporters, the better." He didn't stop there. Axl added that there was zero possibility of him having anything to do with Slash other than by ambush. And he said that wouldn't be pretty. Axl called Slash a whore for the limelight. At a 2002 concert in Leeds, a fan yelled out asking where Slash was. Axl's response shocked everyone in the crowd. He joked crudely that Slash was in his ass, telling that to thousands of fans. The pettiness reached crazy levels in May 2012. An 18-year-old boy named James Revel went to see Guns N' Roses at London's O2 Arena. Security guards forced him to remove his Slash t-shirt before entering. They told reporters they had orders from management not to allow anyone wearing Slash merchandise inside. Similar incidents happened at other UK venues. Axl later denied giving such an order in an angry message board post, but the damage to his reputation was already done. Nobody expected these two to ever speak again, but in 2015 something changed. Axl called Slash while the guitarist was touring in Peru. Slash later described the conversation as very cathartic. Just being able to physically talk helped heal old wounds. In January 2016, they announced a reunion for Coachella Festival. The tour was called Not in This Lifetime, named after Axl's 2012 comment about reunion chances. The tour made over $500 million. It became one of the highest grossing tours in music history. Slash later praised how professional Axl had been throughout the entire reunion. These are the reasons Axl saw Slash as an evil for 2 decades before eventually making peace. Number 3, we had Mick Wall. Mick Wall was a British rock journalist, author, and broadcaster, best known for his in-depth coverage of major rock bands like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Led Zeppelin. Very few journalists were attacked as publicly and for as long as Mick Wall. Axl Rose sparked one of rock's most notorious feuds when he called out Mick Wall in the song Get in the Ring. The song appeared on the Use Your Illusion 2 album. The ironic part was that Mick Wall's only crime was simply reporting Axl's own words. The song's spoken section explicitly named 4 journalists whom Axl hated. Axl growled that the message was for all the troublemaking punks in the press. He told them to get in the ring, and he'd kick their little asses. Mick Wall's supposed offense occurred in January 1990. Axl called him at midnight, demanding that he come to his apartment immediately. When Mick arrived at midnight, Axl went on a rant about wanting to kill Vince Neil. He even made extreme threats, mentioning the use of guns or knives. Mick Wall wrote down quotes carefully before recording anything. Then he called Axl to confirm whether he wanted everything published. Axl laughed and said he still stood by every single word. The article was featured as the cover story of the magazine in April 1990. It instantly sparked outrage and debate. Axl's team requested the interview tapes. They claimed they wanted to run the audio on a Guns N' Roses phone line, but Mick Wall learned the real reason later. Axl simply couldn't believe he had said some of those things. He didn't think he would ever speak that way. Wall refused to hand over the tapes. He suspected Axl wanted to doctor them and change what had been said. The threats escalated dramatically after that refusal. At a January 1991 meeting in Rio, Axl summoned Wall to a bar. He arrived with 3 formidable companions. Axl made threatening statements that day. He said he'd heard Wall was writing a book about the band. According to Wall's account, Axl warned him that if the book was published, he would track Wall down and kill him. After another Wall article was published, Axl called at 2 in the morning. He said, "Hey Mick, this is Axl. I just wanted to say one thing while reading the new magazine. See you in court, buddy." Mick Wall proceeded with his book in the summer of 1991 anyway. The book was released around the same time as Use Your Illusion. The song Get in the Ring was Axl's revenge. It became a permanent attack, locked forever inside a multi-platinum album. Years later, Mick Wall looked back and explained how silly the situation really was. He said that, on one level, Get in the Ring was just a lot of puffed-up nonsense about nothing. It was basically a loud tantrum from an overindulged child star who wasn't getting his way. Bob Guccione Jr. from Spin magazine actually accepted Axl's fight challenge in writing. He said he could use the publicity and that he had 9 years of fight training. Axl Rose never responded to that acceptance. Mick Wall remained professional throughout everything. He continued his acclaimed biography career. He even wrote a sympathetic Axl Rose biography in 2007 and 2008. In April 2016, ahead of the Guns N' Roses reunion tour, Wall published a remarkable public apology. He acknowledged that the spirit of his Rose biography had been mean, disgruntled, and unworthy. Wall said he was sorry he had written it. He reached out directly to Axl as a gesture of peace. Wall said that if he ever met Axl again, he wouldn't fight him. Instead, he'd give him a hug and bring a red rose. Axl Rose never responded to that olive branch. Wall continued receiving threats from teenage Guns N' Roses fans who hadn't even been born when the song first came out. These were the reasons Axl Rose considered this journalist nothing but pure evil. At number 2, we have Lars Ulrich from Metallica. In 1992, a co-headlining tour brought together Metallica, supporting their iconic Black Album, and Guns N' Roses, with their legendary Use Your Illusion albums. Both bands were at their absolute commercial peaks. Both also became competitive in almost every way. A former Guns N' Roses drummer explained what he believed the real issue was between the bands. He said Axl's intention was to rule the world, and he wasn't afraid to say it. Then Lars Ulrich came along, and he wanted the same thing. Guns N' Roses believed they should close every show on tour because they were the biggest band in the world. That meant the crew needed more than 2 hours to reset the stage after Metallica finished. Axl's constant lateness pushed the crowd's patience to the limit. Metallica's Kirk Hammett told a magazine that they never really knew if Axl felt like playing. The complete catastrophe happened at Montreal's Olympic Stadium on August 8, 1992. That night, 53,000 fans had packed into the stadium. During the song, Fade to Black James Hetfield stepped into a pyrotechnic flash. The magnesium burned at 3,200 degrees Fahrenheit. James suffered severe second and third degree burns on his left arm. He also got burns to his face and back. Hetfield described it as pain he'd never felt in his whole life. Metallica had to cut their set short immediately. They promised to return for a makeup show later. This was Axl's moment to be the hero and save the night despite Metallica's tragedy. Instead, after making the crowd wait 2 hours and 15 minutes, Guns N' Roses played only 9 songs. Different sources say the set lasted anywhere from 15 to 55 minutes. Axl complained about monitor feedback problems throughout the short performance. Then he delivered his final words to Montreal. Axl said, "Case anybody here is interested, this will be our last show for a long time." Right after those words, a massive riot exploded. Between 2,000 and 10,000 fans participated in the destruction. They set cars on fire and smashed windows everywhere. They looted stores and overturned a police car. Between 8 and 10 police officers got injured. Guns N' Roses was banned for life from the Olympic Stadium. Hetfield was so disappointed in Axl Rose. He said Axl could have won so many people over by continuing. Instead, Axl went the exact opposite way and made things 10 times worse. He even put people's lives in danger. The animosity continued simmering for many years afterward. In 2008, someone asked Axl about his favorite cartoon characters. Axl responded that his favorite cartoon characters are Metallica and Slash. When James Hetfield heard about this comment, he fired back hard. Hetfield said Guns N' Roses are a different type of band, and he used the word band very loosely. "It's a guy and some other guys," Hetfield said. He later told Howard Stern that Guns N' Roses stood for everything Metallica didn't like. Due to all the chaos and conflicts, Axl Rose viewed Metallica as an evil band in the industry. At number 1, we have Kurt Cobain. This wasn't just a personal feud, it was a clash between 2 different generations of rock. Axl Rose actually liked Nirvana at first. He wore a Nirvana baseball cap in one of his music videos. In late 1991, Axl told a magazine that he would like to hear Nirvana do Welcome to the Jungle their way. Axl kept calling Kurt, asking Nirvana to open for the massive Guns N' Roses and Metallica stadium tour. Dave Grohl remembered one day walking through an airport when Kurt said that Axl Rose wouldn't stop calling him. But Kurt rejected everything Axl stood for. In February 1991, Kurt told Big O magazine that Guns N' Roses were promoting the wrong values, like sexism. Kurt didn't think Guns N' Roses represented real rebellion. He said rebellion is standing up to people like Guns N' Roses. Kurt was especially angry about a Guns N' Roses song called "One in a Million." The lyrics included racist and homophobic slurs that disgusted Kurt. Things exploded publicly on July 2, 1992 at a show in Missouri. His exact words from the stage became infamous. Axl said that someone like Kurt Cobain in Nirvana was basically just a junkie with a junkie wife. Then Axl went even further, saying that if their baby was born with problems, they should go to prison. "That's my feeling," Axl told the crowd. This was incredibly cruel because it referenced Kurt's wife Courtney being pregnant. The idea of wishing prison on parents of a child shocked everyone. The backstage confrontation at the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards became legendary. Kurt and Courtney sat with their newborn baby Francis when Axl walked by with 5 bodyguards. Courtney yelled sarcastically, asking if Axl wanted to be the godfather of their baby. Axl stopped and approached them. His exact words were, "You shut your bitch up, or I'm taking you down to the pavement." Kurt responded sarcastically by saying, "Shut up, bitch," mocking Axl's demand. Everyone around them laughed at Axl Rose. Then Axl's girlfriend asked Courtney if she was a model. Courtney instantly shot back, asking if she was a brain surgeon. Axl walked away completely humiliated by the whole exchange. An MTV director who witnessed everything said Kurt's sarcastic tone made everybody laugh at Axl. She said Kurt handled the situation perfectly and knew exactly what he was doing. Kurt later admitted he was actually scared mostly of Axl's bodyguards. In December 1992, Kurt gave his most damning assessment to The Advocate magazine. Kurt said, "The guy is a sexist and a racist and a homophobe, and you can't be on his side and be on our side." Kurt added that, besides all that, Guns N' Roses couldn't even write good music. The cultural divide between these two men was enormous. Kurt represented authenticity and feminism, while Axl represented 1980s excess and machismo. Kurt's tragic death in April 1994 froze this feud in time forever. But after that, Axl never liked Nirvana as a band. So these are the 7 people Axl Rose has pointed to as some of the most evil influences in the industry, at least from his perspective. Whether you believe the stories or not, the music business clearly has no shortage of drama, rivalry, and controversy. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.